Good morning, it's March 16th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. How many of you have ever used an old-fashioned washboard to clean your clothes, or perhaps one of those old washing machines that had the wringer up on the top? If Joe Biden has his way, this is how you'll be doing your laundry. This administration, in cahoots with the most extreme environmentalists, they've decided that just about every modern convenience you have in your life should be abolished and changed to something that appeases their drive to take us back to the Stone Ages. First, we have Biden announcing that he wanted to put the oil and gas industry out of business. Here, just all to go out and buy an expensive electric car or truck. He gave no thought of how the electricity for these cars would be produced. It was magic. The electricity comes from the outlet, so it shouldn't be no problem. Nobody seems to have informed our aging president that about 80% of the electricity produced in the world comes from fossil fuels. So we eliminate all that electricity and see how far you get with your fancy electric car. Then we had the administration announce that we should all abandon our gas stoves and use electric stoves. Again, nobody seems to wonder where that electricity comes from. And if you're a serious cook or chef, you fully understand that a gas stove is much more preferable to an electric one when you have to control the heat. All of these elites who go to these fancy restaurants are going to be sending their food back saying it's not done right. And Gavin Newsom, the whimsical governor of California, is staking out his position as a leading green candidate by enacting laws in California that will mandate that all appliances will have to be electric. New homes and buildings that are constructed in 2023 will have to have electric supply panels and circuitry to support all electric appliances and heating under a building code updated and approved 2 years ago by the California Energy Commission. The new building doesn't outright ban the sale of natural gas appliances. That will come in 2030. But it's a mandate from California Air Resources Board that is designed to lower the carbonization of structures and improve indoor air quality. In addition, the new code requirements will require solar panels and EV charging ports in all new homes. As California moves to all electric for homes and businesses, many are questioning whether enough power can be generated and stored to serve the state's 39 million residents. During the heat waves last summer, residents were asked to refrain from using appliances such as washers and dryers and from charging their electrical vehicle in the late afternoon or early evening. That's when demand for air conditioning peaked and power supplies were stretched thin. Now we have the administration telling us that we have to change our washing machines, and somehow this will save us money. Of course, they ignore that these new washing machines will cost more, and it doesn't matter to the environmentalists, who for the most part are higher income white people who do not care if it impacts lower income people, just so long as it accomplishes what they want to accomplish. Quote, like many efficiency standards, the government claims that although these standards will raise the cost of appliances, they are justified because they will reduce consumer spending on energy and water even more. Of course, if that were true, consumers would likely buy more efficient appliances anyway, given that the studies show consumers consider energy and water costs. End quote. This comes from American Enterprise Institute senior fellow James Coleman, who told the media, and I quote again, if consumers do fully consider what they will pay on energy in their individual circumstances, then the consumers would on net harm consumers, end quote. What Mr. Coleman is saying is true, that if what the government says were true, and that is highly questionable, then the marketplace would bring these changes without government mandates or interference. The environmentalists have total access to the Biden administration, and the vast majority of them are urban dwellers. They live in a fantasy world where everything will be electric and run on batteries. How many of you remember the fight in Congress over the Yucca Mountain storage facility for spent uranium? The batteries that will propel all these electric vehicles are expensive to make. They require rare earth minerals, much of them mined in China. The carbon footprint of those mining operations is ignored by the green movement. They only see themselves motoring around the city in electric cars. And when those batteries have been used up, when they are no longer viable, you have to have a plan to deal with them in a waste manner. The battery pack of a Tesla Model S is a feat of intricate engineering. Thousands of cylindrical cells with components sourced from around the world transform lithium and electrons into enough energy to propel the car hundreds of miles, again and again, without any tailpipe emissions. But when the battery comes to the end of its life, its green benefits fade. If it ends up in a landfill, its cells can release problematic toxins, including heavy metals. And then you have the problem with all EV cars do not have the same battery package, and they're not constructed the same. That creates even more problems in either recycling the battery or disposing of the battery. But these are not problems environmentalists think about. They only see the short-term gain and ignore the long-term effects. When you couple the problem of needing fossil fuels to power these batteries and all other electric devices, The administration seems hell-bent on foisting up us along the waste disposal problems. You see that we might be moving a bit too fast. Even President Biden, in a slip of the tongue, said we will need fossil fuels for the next couple of decades at the very least. I guess nobody told him we're going all electric. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy the podcast, hit the subscription button and perhaps recommend it to your friends. Thank you.